I drove a long time to find a football team and be able to be in a girls' team, and my journey wasn't as easy as maybe people think.
Forward for Arsenal and a proud Lioness, Beth Mead has won the European Championship twice and established herself as one of the most exciting figures in women's football today.
The moment the whistle blew and we won, it was like the emotion that comes out, you're like happy, but you're upset, but you're elated and you want to scream. And
on She's a Baller, we sit down with Beth for an exclusive point of view interview to hear her story in her own words. She opens up about her journey from youth football to the highest stage, the mentors and teammates who have guided her, the challenges she's overcome, and how she balances life on and off the pitch.
I played for a boys' team and got abused weekly until I played football, and then you got respect after you had to prove yourself.
This episode celebrates her passion, resilience, and the dedication that has made her a role model for the next generation of footballers. A chance to see the game through the eyes of one of its brightest stars. This is Beth Mead's point of view.
I've put a lot of my heart and soul into Arsenal, and I've been here a long time, and winning the Champions League with them was insane. Hi, I'm Beth Mead. I am a professional footballer for Arsenal and the Lionesses. This is Point of View in collaboration with Whoop and She's a Baller.
Thank you so much for joining us, Beth. I'm going to jump straight into the questions. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what your childhood and teenage years were like growing up?
I am from a little town in North Yorkshire called Whitby. I live in a little village just 15 minutes from there called Hindwell. Yeah, I mean, I feel very lucky growing up. I had a very good upbringing. I lived in a lovely area. We either had lots and lots of countryside, or a mile away was the beach. So I had best of both worlds. Really nice area where in my village I went out with all of the local boys and played a lot of football at the local little park and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel very lucky in the area I've been able to be brought up in, considering I live close to London now, and it looks very, very different. So been nice to be that country girl coming to a big city type thing.
And do you miss it at all?
I do. When I go home, I love going home, and I love, going to the beach with my dog and enjoying some time with her and my partner Viv and switching off and a bit of normality. But when you go home, it's seamless. Like nothing ever changes. The same people are there. The house is exactly the same as when I get back to my family home and stuff like that. So that's really nice when I get to go back and enjoy them moments and switch off from football sometimes.
And is your bedroom still the same? They kept it the same?
A little bit. I have some questionable photos on the wall. I don't understand why I allowed my parents to let me ever get these pictures done. One was for my 16th, and I don't know why I ever allowed myself to do that, but that's for another day. But to be fair, my room is a football room now. Basically, whenever I have any memorabilia from football or a tournament, I very much give it to my dad and be like, can you please take this home and put it in the room? And I have a cabinet from the Euro 2022 where it's every match worn shirt I have, some player of the matches I won. So there's some nice memories that I get to come home to and see every now and again.
So a Beth Mead museum in Whitby.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. My dad basically gets all the Beth Mead stuff. I don't have it in my own place because I think that's a little bit weird anyway from my point of view, but he gets it all. And yeah, basically a Beth Mead shrine when you go upstairs.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And who do you think your biggest role models were growing up?
In life, my mum and dad were my biggest role models. I was very lucky at how supportive they were and how much they give in their life to allow me to do what I do. Footballing wise was actually Kelly Smith. She was one of the very few footballers that I was aware of growing up. When I was a kid, there obviously wasn't a lot of exposure for women's football, but full circle kind of moment. She's one of my coaches at Arsenal now, and we have a really nice relationship. Obviously, I have one regret that I didn't get a chance to play with her. She actually retired the season I signed for Arsenal, so I'm not letting her live that one down. But yeah, she was one of the cool role models to look up to growing up.
And you mentioned sort of school. How did that kind of sit with football and trying to make both of those things work as you became more and more professional?
School, when I was younger, I obviously just dreamt about becoming professional. So in primary school and secondary school, I actually didn't have too much of an issue. I trained on an evening after school twice a week. That was how much I trained at the time. When I went to university, I was quite seamless my first 2 years. Still wasn't full-time. I was semi-professional with Sunderland women. And my last year, Sunderland women went full time, and I was very lucky. I was at Teesside University, and they accommodated everything for me. Me not being there, not being at classes, I had really good, students and that took notes for me, or they put online lectures on for me so that I could still do uni alongside obviously being professional. And I find that it's a lot harder now to do that, but I guess timing wise was perfect for me. I got my degree, and now I can just concentrate on my football and not have to worry about not having that degree. And because I think that's the harder thing now when you're growing up, it is the ability to be able to be a professional footballer, but also obviously it takes away the excitement of maybe wanting a degree and what else I can go into. So I guess my timing was quite nice that I could do both, and it wasn't too affected by either or.
If you hadn't gone into football, what do you think you would have been instead?
I either wanted to be a PE teacher, I love sport, I did a lot of sports growing up, so I always thought that was something I wanted to do, or I actually wanted to be a policewoman. I wouldn't say I'm the most sensible person in the world to do that, but I think I would have been quite good at it. So
I think police officer me's got a ring to it, to
Yeah.
be fair. Yeah.
fair.
Rapid, chasing people down, I
Well,
suppose. Yeah.
That's slowed down a little bit now, but that's okay.
What's one thing most people wouldn't know about your journey?
I feel like because of the type of person I am, I'm quite extrovert and quite happy in an open book. I think I had quite a hard time coming through football when I was younger. I would say for a kid, I didn't have thick skin, but I didn't overthink. I mean, to be fair, I still don't overthink too much in life, but I really got upset, going to youth camps for England because it was 5-hour journeys in a car at the age of 12 and 13, and got super upset and got homesick and didn't want to leave and cried the night before going. I was quite a home bird growing up, and I found that really hard to transition into. The only time I switched off on like England camps and stuff was when I was actually playing football. The rest of the day was torture for me at the time. Whereas now, like, I don't really get to go home much, but I know that's part and parcel of it. And I feel like people probably always thought I was this, bubbly young girl, when actually I was quite the opposite growing up, and I've kind of grown into the personality that I am now. But yeah, my journey wasn't as easy as maybe people think when you get the success a little bit more now, that they're like, oh, they must have had an easy journey coming through and into football and through the ranks. Like, I played for a boys team and got abused weekly until I played football, and then you got respect after you had to prove yourself. So just little barriers like that sometimes are not ideal, but I had to put up with them, and I always tried to make the best of it. I did my dissertation on barriers in female football in my university degree, and I'm always just trying to think of a way of how it makes it easy for the next person. I come to Arsenal when I was 21. I still struggled a little bit with homesickness, and I found my days very, very long. So like, I always think when there's a new player in the squad now, do they want to do something in the afternoon to break their day up because they're brand new and they don't know the area, and it's just sometimes nice. So I like to think as a person I'm quite good at trying to, like, things that I struggle with, trying to assess that for somebody else and hopefully make it a little bit easier. But we live and we learn with different things.
Would you say you're kind of the mum of the team, sort of taking the youngsters under your wing a little bit?
I wouldn't say the girls would say I'm the mum, because I'm a little bit like daft and like to have fun. I think most people have put that one on like Kim Little or someone. But I would say that anyone who comes into the team will always know that they've got a safe space with me if I'm there. And I always like to make people feel comfortable and have a laugh and stuff like that. So I'd like to think that's my role, but I don't technically know what you'd call it. The annoying aunt, maybe.
Have you seen a lot of change in terms of the support that players, I suppose, coming into the professional game have had compared to when you were first starting out? The sort of mental support, psychological support, the sort of the wraparound, I suppose, that exists with the younger players.
Yeah, a lot of it didn't exist with me, like growing up through football, and as bad as it was at the time, it's kind of, you have to get on with it or you have to figure it out, when actually it's nice that people can feel a certain way now and have someone to go to speak about it, or be able to try and help them with whatever it may be. But I think growing up, I was part of background staffs that were like 5 or 6 people, and now you can maybe have more background staff than you have team mates. So I guess the evolution of the game, it's come a long, long way, but it's nice to have that in place and make it as comfortable for players or staff or managers, as easy as possible to try and sync in with how the evolution of the game's going.
And you mentioned the evolution of the game. Obviously, you're a massive Whoop fan. I see the Whoop band on your wrist at the moment. How has that kind of made your life easier as an athlete?
Yeah, I've been with Whoop quite a while now. And, you know, as an athlete, you're always trying to find ways of becoming better or analysing, you know, yourself as a human, as a performance tool. And yeah, Whoop's been a big part of that for me. I think I've really enjoyed the evolution of Whoop through the years, the different bands. I mean, it's amazing the technology that you can get from it now, and it's part of my routine now. You know, daily I go on the app every morning. I'll go on and set my journal out, and what does my day look like? What does my recovery look like? After every session, I'm like, what was my strain? What was my heart rate? What recovery strategies can I put in place to maybe make my, you know, my recovery zone be in the green a little bit more? And yeah, it's just nice to keep, I think, at professional level and being a professional athlete, trying to find them extra 1% that get you to the next level, which I found has been really amazing with Whoop.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about your club journey. You've obviously been at Arsenal since 2017, but before that you were at Sunderland from 2011 to 2016. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with Sunderland, obviously making quite the impact straight off the bat, assisting the club to promotion to WSL in 2014, which was huge. But yeah, can you tell us about some of your key highlights?
Yeah, I started when I was 16. I was a young girl and I got the backing of the manager to play in a women's team. And yeah, we live and breathe football in the North East, and when you play for a team like Sunderland, which if you look over the years, the players that have been produced from Sunderland, like Lucy Bronze, you know, Carly Telford, Jordan Nobbs, Jill Scott, Steph Outons, you could list endless names, and they were players I, you know, looked up to as I was coming through the ranks of when I was younger. But yeah, I loved my time there. I think as soon as I signed, the girls were amazing. They made it feel like home. It was super competitive, very, very different for me. I went from Centre of Excellence, which is like academy football, to then women's football, and got to play against some of the best players week in, week out. I was actually a number 9 when I played at Sunderland, so I was actually a striker. And yeah, at the time I scored lots of goals and we had a lot of fun and a way of playing. And yeah, you said we got promoted from WSL 2 to 1. We won multiple cup competitions, and I think one of the biggest memories was beating Chelsea 4-0. I think they were unbeaten at the time, and we just showed a lot of, you know, we weren't the better team, as in we didn't have the players that they had, but we had the togetherness. And I remember that game just being like, we fought for each other. We won 4-0, which was incredible. And yeah, I scored a hat-trick that day, which is quite nice always as a forward, that expectation. But yeah, it was quite a nice day to be able to take them unbeaten run away from them. And I think we got halfway through the season, we knew we were mathematically safe. And as a new team in the league, I think that's like we were buzzing. We were like, we're actually safe. We can't go down now no matter what happens. And yeah, it was really nice. But I guess I owe a lot to Sunderland, and the way they made me feel and how I performed obviously got me my move to Arsenal. And yeah, signed as a striker for Arsenal, and then that changed quite quickly once I signed there.
I read somewhere that you also worked at a local pub and the landlord sponsored your footballing career at the time. Do you still have ties to the pub, and how good were you at pulling pints?
Yeah, I do. I actually had the weekend off last weekend and seen them, and went to the pub. They have a picture of me from when I was at my under-15s with my England kit on still support me. They actually sponsored me for a little bit. Some of my boots, what I played in, they bought for me, which was amazing. And I think I learnt a lot. I started off as the pot washer. I then went to be a waitress, and when I turned 18, I went on the bar, and I would say I was pretty good behind the bar. I'm very good like speaking to people and being chatty, which is always a good skill to have behind the bar, but they were pretty cheap pints then. I think it was $1.80 for a pint back in the when I worked there, 90p for a half. So it's saying quite a lot. So it's quite a while ago, but sometimes yeah, I'd work there on a Saturday night and play on a Sunday for Sunderland. So was just where the game was at the time and what you needed to do.
And when you won the game, would you then go back to the pub to celebrate?
Yeah, 3 pints for myself.
You launched the Beth Mead Scholarship in February 2022 to support dual career students. How important has that been to you?
Yeah, it's been super important. I think understanding my journey of my final year and knowing that, you know, young girls can get the support straight away, also support of, you know, academically, but also for their performance, you know, they can get strength and conditioning, physical work, Obviously helps them align with a football team and be able to go to uni. And it was important for me to be able to try and make that doable for some young girls coming through and ones who want to try and do both still, which I think is super important. So it was nice that I was able to each year try and get a select few girls that can be supported through the programme, help them, and hopefully they're the next generation of footballers that we want to see. So if you can help in any way, it's always nice. So it was nice when the uni wanted to collab on that one for me.
So as part of the scholarship, you also provide students with one-to-one mentoring. How have you found that experience?
Yeah, fun. Obviously it's in Teesside, so it's harder for me to be there face to face, but we get on some Zoom calls and yeah, I think they're a little bit nervous at times, and I'm like, come on, like you can ask me questions. What do you need? What can I help with? What can we provide? And once you get them out they're in the comfort zone a bit and they feel a bit more comfortable, it's nice to hear their journeys and how they're doing, what they find stressful, what we can help with, what I can provide to say, you know, that's normal to feel like that. And I think sometimes it's just a shoulder to be able to be like, do you know what, that's normal. It's not easy. It's not an easy journey sometimes, but actually it'll be worth it. I think it gives them sometimes that extra motivation to be like, okay, this is okay. I'm doing fine. And then what else I can do to help them improve in whatever area they need to, and homing on different things. Like they're like, what did you do if you weren't good at this, and vice versa. And we're always all learning. You know, nobody's perfect, but it's just nice to be able to help them on their journey as well sometimes.
Is there anything you feel like you've learned from them working with the younger people?
It's nice to, I think, refreshing to hear different types of journeys that come through the game now. Like, I drove a long time to find a football team and be able to be in a girls' team, and to hear them know that they've got, you know, the university to play in and they've got a local team around the corner and it's doable, and actually this facility is not good enough. Can we push to help them get a little bit more or stuff like that? It's just interesting to hear them different journeys and everybody's journey is so different. And that's the beauty of, you know, football and life, and you know, how people progress very differently. But it's nice, I think, really nice to learn about their different journeys and where they're at, and I guess what attitudes they have towards what they want to do pushing forward.
And you developed quite a good relationship with Jermain Defoe, who wrote a section in your autobiography. How has that friendship developed?
Yeah, he was amazing. Obviously, we were both the number 9s at Sunderland back in the day, and he made me come in every morning, have a green tea with him before training. He said, this is why I'm still playing at this age. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do the same then. So, like, he was like a little mini mentor with me, and, like, he'd be like, oh, you know, that goal you scored at the weekend's so good, but this chance, I think you could have done this, this, and this better. And I'm like, okay, this is how it's going to be. I'm like, all right, I'll start watching your games a little bit closer now. But no, he was being great. He supported me for a long time, and he probably more in the game when people weren't too bothered about the women's team. He had a lot of time for the women's team and myself, and it was refreshing to. I mean, he's a very experienced player. He's done a lot. He's been through a lot. So sometimes that's nice to get his experiences and hear it from a different perspective again. So yeah, we've always had a nice relationship and check in every now and again still.
We'll talk a little bit about your career at Arsenal. You joined in January 2017. How did that move come about, and what made you head to North London?
I just got promoted with Sunderland, and it was funny, the season before I actually signed for Arsenal, they came in for me and was like, we want to sign you. And I took a risk at the time and it paid off, but I actually chose to stay at Sunderland and be like, I want to get a bit of experience in WSL 1. I want to see like where I'm at. And I could have done awful that year. Like that could have been the risk, and the Arsenal may have not wanted me, but I actually finished top scorer in the league that year for Sunderland, and was like, do you know what, I can compete at this level regularly. And then I was lucky enough that quite a few teams came in for me, but speaking to all the managers, and I mean, I spoke to Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, the way Arsenal were, what the club, the history, it just sat the most right with me at the time, and felt like that was a team that I would be a part of and could help make a difference in. And yeah, it felt like it could be home away from home for me. So yeah, I ended up obviously making a decision to go there.
And it obviously paid off. I mean, I was reading through, you know, obviously think everyone in this room is aware of how much you've achieved in your career, but when you read through the list, it's incredible. So, and these are just some of them. So 2018 England Young Player of the Year, Football Supporters Association Player of the Year, PFA Team of the Year, breaking the WSL record for most assists in a season, ATA Football WSL Player of the Year, BBC Sports Personality of the Year, Ballon d'Or runner-up, MBE recognition in 2023, and of course, Euros champions. I mean, out of all the things that you've achieved in your career, what would you say is like the biggest one for you, the one that you're most proud of?
There's ones for different reasons. Like I've put a lot of my like heart and soul into Arsenal, and I've been here a long time. And winning the Champions League with them was like insane. I think it's a competition that you dream of winning, and to be able to go to a final against Barcelona, be underdogs, put in the performance we did, was an unbelievable feeling. But winning the Euros for your country, like I don't know, like it's such a hard thing to like. Yeah, it's hard because I've played for England since I was 12, and I'm now 30, and I've won 2 Euros with my country. Like I'm very, very proud of that, of what we've done, and to be able to be back-to-back Euro champions in the day and age of women's football is, I think, very, very incredible of what we did. And then obviously Sports Personality of the Year is one I've watched since I was a kid. So to even think I was ever nominated for that, never mind to win that, was... I'm really bad at this. I'm sitting on the fence with 3 different things.
I did try and limit you to just one there, but I'll give you the 3. That's
yeah,
fine.
sorry, I'll give you 3.
Do you ever look back over your career and just sort of take a minute to kind of take stock of how much you've achieved, going from pulling pints in the pub to European champions, and going to Lisbon and having that incredible moment? I mean, has it all sunk in yet, or are you still because obviously you're playing week in, week out, that it's not really, you've taken a second on it?
I won't appreciate it until I stop playing as much. I'm very, very proud of what I've done and the journey I've had, but you're in a new season now. Nobody cares about what you did last season right now. You go into like game mode and playing again, and yeah, I think, I have moments where I really, really reflect on it, and I feel very, proud and different emotions that come with it, but I don't think I'll truly appreciate it until I'm not playing, which is fine. But I think, yeah, don't get me wrong, some of the experiences, they're like pinch me lifetime experiences, but I think until you slow down and get off the roller coaster of what football is during your career, I think it's hard to appreciate it as much in the moment.
And you mentioned there sort of how relentless football can be. You obviously go from the international tournament straight into pre-season, straight into obviously the season, and then Champions League starts again. It just sort of it feels like one big wheel, I suppose. But obviously you mentioned before, with Whoop sort of being quite a big factor in your recovery and, allowing you to keep on going again and making sure that you're best prepped. I mean, how do you kind of make sure you're ready to go again, because of how football is just sort of one big roller coaster, I suppose?
I said earlier, you're always learning. Like I'm quite an experienced player now. I'm obviously one of the older players. I'm still learning on what works best for me. My body's, changing. I'm not the young 18-year-old that I used to be, and what works for me best to help my recovery. Obviously, like you said, again, I'll wake up that morning, I'll be like, how much sleep have I got? What do I need? How does my body feel? What do I need to go into club and do recovery-wise today? Like, do I need a massage? Do I need an ice bath? Do I need stretching? Whatever it may be. I think very much depends on how you feel at the time, physically and mentally. But touch wood, I'm managing at the moment. So far, so good.
And a big part of your preparation is obviously, the incredible teammates that you've grown up with throughout the years, being that support network for you as you'll go through these big transitions. Who have been some of your best friends within the squad and outside of the squad as your clubs have changed?
Football, that's a lovely thing about football. You meet so many different people from different places, different backgrounds, and one of my closest friends, best friends, is Steph Catley, who actually lives on the other side of the continent. She's from Australia. We actually had a conversation the other day. We actually played against each other in 2015 in China in a friendly tournament. And we were staying in the same hotel, but we had no idea who each other were. And obviously now we're best friends, but at the time we'll have probably passed each other and not even thought twice. But these people come into your life and they feel like your family away from family. Like I have a lot of, close people. I've known Leah Williamson since we've been at youth age groups at England, and obviously through Arsenal, Kim Little has been a big part of my journey and someone I've always looked up to. And I mean, I could endlessly list people, but it's nice to make new connections and different people from different backgrounds and different places, but also feel like your family away from family, which was important. Like, you see them more than you actually see your family, so it's nice to have them relationships with people.
And I suppose building up those kind of relationships, there have been, some of the support network that you've had over some of the challenges that you faced, especially with injuries. I know you had an MCL injury back in 2020, ACL injury in 2022. How have you overcome those setbacks? How do you get yourself prepped and get ready to be back out in the field again?
I think that's my least favourite part of football, the injuries that come with it. But again, it's another time to, develop, progress as a person. And my ACL, I was out for 9 months. Obviously not the nicest injury, but I had time to reflect. I had things that happened in my life in that time that maybe I always believe things happen for a reason, and maybe it was meant to slow me down to appreciate certain moments with, my family back home and stuff like that. But it was a moment for me to, reflect on things, work hard, be in the gym, be better at things that I maybe wasn't as good at as when I was playing football 24/7, and you can home in on different things. And it's cliche, but it's part and parcel of football. Injuries come with it. They're the most fun part of it, but yeah, you learn differently, and I think, have a very different perspective on sometimes when you have to slow down because of injuries and stuff like that.
Do you feel that's part of your sort of maturity, I suppose, if you've grown up and become one of the more senior players, that you kind of develop that context and that understanding of, how you do bounce back from certain setbacks?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was lucky growing up. I didn't have that many injuries as a kid. I got a few more, and to be honest, I back myself and look after myself at being available. Unfortunately, the injuries I got were actually contact injuries, and that's part of the game, and you can't help them, and it feels unfair sometimes. I think I dealt with my ACL very different to how I dealt with my MCL 2 years before, and I think, look at it as someone actually is worse off than I am. Like, there's always somebody who doesn't feel as good, or they've got a bigger injury, or they're going to take longer, or whatever it may be. And I think you've got to appreciate each moment that you're in and reflect, and ultimately you're in that position. You can't do anything about it, but what you can do about it is obviously what you do behind the scenes to get back and become as good as possible to get back on the pitch and do what you do.
Do you think it's it's mad to go from sort of having the injuries that you've had to then, a few years later assisting the winning goal in the Champions League final and the celebrations, and kind of, you mentioned before, it's like one of your favourite moments in your career. Can you tell us what it meant to kind of lift that trophy and how special it was?
Yeah, it's an indescribable feeling. Like, the moment the whistle blew and we won, it was like the emotion that comes out, you're like happy, but you're upset, but you're elated, and you want to scream, and you work so hard for the moments. And we've had a few years where we've got knocked out the semi-final and couldn't get it over the line, and then to get to the final, and everyone look at us and as a team as being good on the ball, but you're playing in Barcelona and you've got to show that grit and determination to stay in the game, and know that you might be under the cosh a bit and have to defend. And yeah, me and Stina were like, today we're going to try and make a difference. Like, we came on and we were like, we're going to make a difference, and the rest is history. I assisted Stina, and there's not a better person who deserved that moment. She brings, them moments to us as a team, and she's been there in big moments for us as a club. And to be able to, lift it as the only English team in football that's won the Champions League is a special feeling, and a very nice feeling at that.
And can you tell us about the celebrations afterwards? There was some bits of kind of quite dark footage in clubs.
You got some snippets, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, the night after was with friends straight after was with friends and family in Lisbon, and it was such a good evening. The club sorted it out for us, and we had our friends' family. We had every right to enjoy it, and we very much were some sore heads in the morning. Jess Glynn sang for us. She was there. I wouldn't change any of it. And then obviously we got the parade, which was insane, the amount of people that came and wanted to celebrate with us, and the elation of it. And then straight away back into England camp, back to football and back to it.
And did your whoop play a part in the recovery from the sore heads?
I think I avoided my whoop for 3 or 4 days after the Champions League. I apologise, but don't think the scores would have been great. Lack of sleep, lack of anything. I actually lost my voice for at least a week. I went into England camp and couldn't speak. And Sarina was actually like, that's fine, you deserve it, so that's okay.
She probably felt the
I
same
actually
way.
sounded worse than I probably acted during them parties, but I was singing Simply the Best in front of 10,000 people, so I thought that was a good idea.
2 massive celebrations this summer. Yeah, it would have taken its toll a little bit. I just want to touch a little bit on your personal life. I think everyone we've spoken to on this series is a huge figure in the public eye. Definitely seen a lot more attention being given to WSL players on and off the pitch. How have you kind of dealt with the transition from going from when you used to play at Sunderland, where you used to get maybe hundreds coming to the games, now you're getting tens of thousands of people turn up every single week, but obviously the media taking a very avid interest in what you do in your personal life and your relationships. How have you kind of found that sort of less privacy, I suppose, as you've grown on?
I think the transition, when it really hit us was 2022 after the Euros. You had, papers writing about you, your personal life, what you're doing, what you're up to, paparazzi's pops around the corner, you just try to go to the shop, whatever it may be. And I think that was a big change for a lot of us, and understanding how to deal with that best. And, film crews going to your family's houses and being like, can we interview you and stuff like that. I think that was really a difficult time to try and transition through. I think it's amazing what we did, and we wanted to bring the women's game to the limelight and get it the exposure that it deserves, but comes with it more opinions, more scrutiny on your performances, more eyes on you, and that comes with it. And that, I guess, is the pressure of being a professional footballer now. Try to weave your way through your life. None of us, know how to weave through life perfectly, but you've also got millions and thousands of other people having an opinion on what it looks like as well. So I wouldn't say it's been easy. I think it's took a lot of us a bit of time to transition, and so it's still not sometimes. Like, you've had a few years to get used to it, but it's still not nice seeing certain things or hearing certain things. But we've got people in place that can also help us with that, and I hope people can navigate the way best about it. But we're all humans. We're no different from the fans. We have families back home. We have our dogs. We have our pet. Whatever it may be, we're no different. We just play football in front of a lot of people, and I think people forget that part of it sometimes.
And how do you deal with that sort of criticism, or the loud noise that the media generates sometimes?
I think people deal with it differently. A lot of us don't go on certain social medias because we don't want to see it, and you don't want to see things. I think some stuff's hard. You get, questioned in media and stuff like that, and ultimately we can say as little and less as much as we want. And I think we forget that sometimes, that we feel like we owe people things. And we obviously transition of playing in big stadiums, you've got a lot of people there, and you can't see people as much anymore. It's unfortunate, it's just how it is. You can't go around the stadium at the end of the game because there's thousands of people, which we used to be going round to go and see people because we appreciate so much they're coming. And it's not that we don't appreciate as much, but it's not as manageable now with the bigger crowds. And I guess that's fans understanding the transition of the game as well. Not that we don't want to, it's actually just not feasible. But we're all learning still. Us as players, fans, media, whatever it may be. But yeah, there's a lot more eyes on it now.
For sure. One thing that our audience absolutely love about you is your openness, your transparency to kind of share aspects of your life. And I think a lot of people have found sort of confidence in their own lives. You've spoken openly about your mum and also your relationship with Viv as well. When did you first decide to kind of open up sort of about some of the things that you'd gone through?
I've always been an open book as a person. I think I'm very good at speaking to people, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I would say I let everybody know my story after the Euros. I wrote my book. I put everything out there. People can question, like, they can think they know things, and I'm like, this is my life. This is what I want you to know. I'll give you a lot, and that's okay. And yeah, I was very open about, my life, my relationship with Viv, my mum, how I felt after my mum passed away, how I've navigated and tried to be okay in certain instances, or how my emotions have felt in different scenarios. And I think it's nice to get the feedback of actually it resonates with a lot of different people, and that makes me happy knowing that they're like, okay, that's okay. Beth felt like that. And that makes me feel okay, and that feels a bit more normal. And if I can remotely help, like I've said earlier, one person and make them feel a bit more comfortable, then I feel good about what I'm doing. So, yeah, that's how I've been and gone about things.
Love that. I mean, one of the things that, again, sort of the audience loves is, you know, you're a massive LGBTQ plus advocate. You're very sort of open and about that, and you know, it's led to a number of nominations, LGBTQ plus awards in 2020 and 2022, the European Diversity Awards too. What has it meant to you to be an advocate for the LGBTQ plus community, being a part of it yourself, obviously?
I'm proud. I'm proud of the person I am. I'm proud of the person I'm with. It doesn't matter the colour of their skin, it doesn't matter the person they are, it doesn't matter who they are. If I love that person, that's okay. And people forget that. And I just want to normalise it. I think, you know, if you feel like you need to come at somebody else's life because your life is not exciting enough, then that's up to you. But I am happy with the person I am. I'm happy with the person I'm with. I have a lovely family. I love my job. I'm okay. And I am happy in doing what I'm doing.
Love that. We'll talk a little bit about your career with the Lionesses. You've been a part of the senior Lionesses since 2018, but in the underage group since 2010. Can you tell us a little bit about the highs and lows of that journey?
Yeah, I've touched on it earlier. Growing up through youth, I really struggled. I found it hard to be away from home and feel comfortable playing football and doing different things, but I learned, I grew, I worked hard, I got my head down. I got my opportunity in 2018 under Phil, my first ever game at Southampton against Wales. We actually drew 0-0, which was not ideal, but that's okay. But I've loved my journey. I wouldn't change it. Yes, I didn't enjoy it growing up, but it moulded me into the person that I am today and the footballer that I am. And I have achieved a lot with England. I am very proud of my journey. I, again, love representing my country in England. I have had the fun of winning 2 European trophies with England. So I think, yeah, my European journeys, I'm doing okay. I've been to 2 Euros and won 2, so I'm okay with that.
That's not a bad record.
It's not bad.
We've got to talk about the Euro 2025. Obviously, it's just happened. You scored against Wales, then came on in the final. Your penalty shootout shot was saved by Catacol after the retake. What was going through your mind at that point? Because I think all of us back here were just, God, it was just heart in mouth. We just didn't know what to do.
The penalty situation throughout that tournament was painful, but it's so annoying because we practice so much. Like, people don't understand, like, after every session we'll take penalties and, like, nail a penalty, and you stick to your process, and on the day it didn't work out, and that's all you guys see. You see us miss. I can't tell you about my one in the final. I slip as I go to kick the ball and have to retake, and nobody wants to take a penalty. As much as, like you say, you do not want to take a penalty in them situations, but you do because you want to do it for your team, you want to do it for your country. And ultimately, yeah, she went the right way and saved the penalty. And that's why you're in a team sport. Your teammates help you in other moments, you know. I'd like to think I helped some of my teammates in other moments when they didn't feel as great throughout the tournament. And that's why I play football. That's why I love football. And yeah, it's just penalty shootouts are just not our favourite thing. It goes from a team performance to an individual in one moment, and I think that's tough. And we worked so hard to get there. Like, it wasn't the prettiest, I know. We apologise for that. We wish it would look prettier, and we made it a bit more easier because we didn't enjoy the 3 extra times either. It was not great for the bodies, but sometimes you've got to do it a different way, and we did it a different way this year.
And obviously, Chloe Kelly then went on to score the winning pen after those. I mean, describe that feeling when you realised that you'd won those 2 successive Euros. I mean, what was that like?
The first one was like insane, but when we did the second one and Chloe scored the penalty, I think a few was like, have we won? Because we were like, do you know when you don't want to, like, because obviously there's so much going on now, VAR has to check everything's okay. Did the keeper not go off the line because then she'd have to retake, anything like that. So then you kind of run and celebrate, but then they hadn't okayed it. So I'm like running and being like, please just say yes, and they did. And yeah, I mean, you're just buzzing. Like, I don't know, it's such an insane feeling to know you've done that and see the emotion. I think that was the special thing about the parade. Going down the mall with that many people, looking over the side and seeing how happy and emotional and proud people looked in all the way down the mall. Like, young boy, girl, grandma, granddad, mum, dad, whoever it was, like, everyone was so elated from what we'd done. And I think that was a special feeling, seeing that. Because obviously we're away in Switzerland again. When you're away, you're in your bubble. You stick to your bubble. You only look and listen to what you want to look at. So when you get back and you see that many people, or like I said, I always love seeing videos of fans celebrate when we win, or because we don't see that. We never get to see that stuff. And yeah, I think that's always a nice, special feeling.
65,000 people turning up was crazy. Yeah, I got there about 3 hours in advance, and it was rammed from then.
I think people did overnighters, right?
It was, there were tents everywhere. I mean, one of the big moments from that parade was Sarina Burna and Burna Boy. What was it like being on stage at that point?
Iconic, eh? The collab you never knew you needed. It's so funny because we all know she loves Burna Boy. Like, she talks about it all the time, and we're like, never ever would we. When she first told us, we were like, no. She knew every word to every song that he has. Insane. And we actually, a few of us knew about him coming. And Sarina's family actually surprised her by coming to the parade. She didn't think they could get there. So it was like all in one moment. She heard Burna Boy was coming out, clocked her family and the like friends and family bit, and then was like performing with him. We were all like, go on, Sarina. It was so good. Like, she's such a good human, such a good person, and she got her moment.
How much of a part of your journey has Sarina been to you?
Sarina's been super important. I think Sarina's a manager at England where she's like, I trust you. I know what you can do. I know what you can bring, and has got the best out of me as a person and as a player. And obviously I had very different roles in both tournaments, but Sarina just has such an amazing ability to make you feel so important regardless of what you're doing. And obviously my 2022 was a very good tournament, and then this tournament looks very different, but she's like, I actually appreciated you more this tournament because of things that you do off the pitch, and there's big moments where you were involved in that people may not see footballing wise, but I see it. And I'm like, she does that with every single 23 player, but like, she's just so good at making you feel so good as a player and want you to play for her and want to play for the team. And I think that's a hard ability as a coach, to be able to keep that many players happy in one go.
And that recognition, I suppose, of what you've been and your journey going forwards.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you said, there's been so much change within the team over the past few years. So many ridiculously young faces joining. Agyemang, obviously, making waves this tournament. How have you kind of found that transition from being sort of the England youngster to part of the senior player group?
I've just told the young ones it catches up on you quickly. I was a baby and now I am not the baby. I'm third oldest in the team. Crazy. No, I mean, it's everybody's journey starts at different times, and Mish, I've seen her grow through Arsenal ranks and get the experience, and I think she'll be first to tell you her going on loan and getting a bit more time to play has got her that call up. And things happen for a reason, we obviously panicked after the Belgium game that Les obviously got injured and she's going to be out for a long time, which actually got Mish the call up. She then came on in the second game and did what she did. And that was meant to be for Mish. Like, that moment was meant to be for her, and ultimately got her a Euro call up. And she plays with so much, maturity and experience. In their moment, she came on and was like, I'm just going to do me. I'm going to back myself. I'm going to do this. And she knew her job. Like, she came on, she knew her job. And that's the clarity that we had in the team. We all knew what we needed to do. And Sarina was massive on game changers, which ultimately, last tournament, this tournament, they can win you games. So that's why it's so good how well Sarina looks after everyone, that she makes you feel important enough that you can make a difference when you get your chance. And Mish very much did that.
God, didn't she? It obviously looks like England are going to host the 2035 World Cup. What would it mean to you to have the tournament here?
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I don't think I'll be there anymore, though. I wish I was still playing then, but it might be a bit far away from me. But it'd be insane. I'll be a big, big fan during that time. Lucy Bronze's probably still playing, knowing her. But no, it'd be pretty sick. I would love to be able to see an England team play a World Cup over here would be pretty cool.
And do you reckon you'll still be within the England outfit in some capacity?
I'd like to be. I think I'd love to be involved still. It's been a big part of my journey, and I'd like to hopefully give back in a different part.
Just some very final reflections on the future of Beth Mead. We just want to do a little bit of a wrap up of what the next chapter looks like. So, but there's just a couple of sort of random questions thrown in there. So, who's the best player you've ever played against?
I always say, I mean, luckily don't have to play against her for an international, but when I ever played Lucy Bronze, when I was on the wing and she played at City and different places, I didn't enjoy playing against Lucy. She's relentless as a defender. She's up, she's down. You think you've got past her, she's there again. She wasn't my ideal person to play against, so I'm happy I get to play with her when I play for England.
Biggest challenge or mistake/regret in your career so far?
My biggest challenge, I think, was doing my ACL and being out for such a long period of time. My regret was going for a ball that was already off the pitch and getting pushed and doing my ACL. So maybe if I didn't go for it, I would not had to miss out 9 months of my career.
But tenacity. So.
Well, also that, yeah.
What's your go-to pre-match meal?
Depends on the time of day when the game is. I like a spaghetti bolognese if it's a later game.
Cooked by you?
No. Luckily, we have a chef at Sunderland, England, so I would always have that. Or I like pancakes. Get like little American pancakes with some banana with it.
Best form of recovery?
Sleep.
Yeah.
Sleeper. I love sleeping.
What is your Whoop age?
21.9.
What? That's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm happy about that one.
What do you do for fun outside of football?
Love going for a coffee, and taking my dog for a walk with Viv and Steph and her dog Calvin. It's my favourite time of day to go for a coffee and a walk.
And what does life look like for Beth Mead after football, and have you considered what it might look like?
There's a lot of things that I would like the idea of going into. I want to do something to try and help people in some capacity. I'm nearly finished my UEFA A, so some maybe capacity of coaching or helping at a club or a team. But I also just love watching and talking about football, so I would love to just go into a bit of punditry work or something like that. So there's a few things that I would maybe like to dabble in and see what I'm best at.
And last question, what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
I just want to leave a legacy of, this is Beth Mead, this is what I'm about. I hope in any capacity that I've been able to help you both as a person and as a footballer. I'm literally very much here to help. I like the idea of having an effect and positively on someone's life, and if I can have an effect in any way, that makes me happy.
Love that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.